Hi everyone, back with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a video in celebration of International Women's Day, which, if you didn't already know, is actually today. I decided to do a top 5 female characters video, so just to celebrate the female characters that have had some sort of influence upon my life in reading and in everyday general life. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So number 5 is Jane Eyre, which is the title character of Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. The reason she is in my list is because to some people she might seem like a bit of an odd character to have in a top 5 female characters list celebrating International Women's Day, but for me, having studied this on a module for English last semester, I got to look at Jane's character in more depth, and the fact that she doesn't just lie down and do what Rochester says. She's always, throughout the book, you're always aware that she's thinking about herself and what she wants and the journey that she's going on. She takes herself out of situations and she makes sure that she's always thinking of herself. For example, when she finds out that Rochester is actually still married to Bertha and that he's been hiding his wife in an attic for most of their marriage, she decides to leave him, which is detriment to herself because she has nowhere to go and she does end up in a little bit of poverty. But she's quite a strong woman. It shows strong will that she's decided not just to let this man get away with it. She's not going to marry him and let him get away with bigamy and also keeping his wife locked up in an attic, which has subsequently sent her mad. So yeah, that's why she's in my top 5, because she's a strong-willed character, and the fact that she is quite a young character in the book at the beginning, like we see her life, and I think she's a good role model in the way that she stands up for herself and she thinks about her own journey before Rochester's. 4 is Anne from Anne of Green Gables. I love this book. Anne of Green Gables is one of the first books I read as a child, one of the first big books for me I read as a child, and I don't know, Anne, she just stuck with me. She's this talkative, bubbly, vivacious character that has such imagination, and she kind of wreaks havoc against the traditions of where she goes to stay, and she's always talking and she makes friends, and I just remember her from childhood being this character that I really related to because I'm very talkative. I was always making conversations with adults and I had a huge imagination. I was writing stories and playing games from a very young age, so she was just someone when I was little that I related to, and now when I look back on her character I'm able to remember how I felt as a child reading Anne of Green Gables, and also how I had a character in English literature that I could relate to, and I think that helped me in my love of reading, so she's at number 4. Number 3 is a book that I actually read recently, and that is The Fault in Our Stars, and I chose Hazel. The reason I chose Hazel is because she's just such a strong character. She has this terminal illness and she knows she can do nothing about it, and she keeps strong for her parents as well, and then obviously she meets Augustus and she has to remain strong for him, and then the whole storyline of what happens, I'm not going to ruin it if you haven't read it, but the way she's there for him, and even though she's ill and then he gets ill, and I just find her a very strong character for such a young age. She has such an outlook on life that I think you do find in a lot of terminally ill teenagers, that when you see them on when they're featured on shows or when they're speaking about their illness, they're very head on to it, and they're very, yes, this is happening to me and I will deal with it. And I get that from the way that John Green portrays Hazel, and I think it's a positive message. There has been a lot of debate around what's called sick children's literature, and John Green's The Fault in Our Stars was part of this, and I think this type of book, especially using characters like Hazel and Augustus, they're positive, and to portray Hazel as a girl who is there for everyone and is a positive about her life and creates a list that she wants to do, it reinforces, like, to me, that you can be strong, and the fact that she's a girl just adds to that, so that's why she's on my list. Number 2, I actually have 2 characters. They are from the same series, and it's the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, and I've chose Claire and Brianna, who are mother and daughter. Claire is in the series from the beginning because it's based around her story, and Brianna comes in about the 4th book, I think, in the series. She is Claire's daughter, and the reason that these 2 are in my list is because they, to me, are just the epitome of showing that women can adapt to a situation and will do whatever it takes to survive and help their family survive. And also, which something that can be seen as a bad thing sometimes, is the way in which they serve their husbands and they help their husbands. The love between Claire and Jamie in the Outlander series is, I think, very positively represented, and through Claire's eyes you can see how much she adores Jamie and how much he adores her through his eyes. And I just think Claire, she's always there, she's always thinking, how can I help the people, how can I make sure that everyone when they're on the ridge in America, how can I make sure everyone has can sustain their lifestyle, how can I help, because she's a nurse. And she has her faults, she falters sometimes, she does panic, but she's always there through everything that she goes through. She's the strong woman character, and it doesn't break her. Ultimately it doesn't break her, so I think that's why. And for Brianna, she's very much like her mother, and she also gets Jamie's stubborn gene, which kind of helps as well. They're just very, very strong women, and they will do whatever it takes to protect their family and support their family, which in the times that these books are set would have more been the man's role, and the women would have just done what the man told her to do. But they don't, they take initiative. And Brianna, because it's a bit of a complicated timeline and storyline, but there is time travel involved, and because Brianna is originally from the 1960s, I think, don't quote me on that, she knows about all the modern like inventions such as pipes and running water through pipes. So when she goes back in time to the 1700s, she's able to take the initiative to start inventing those in that time, and she proves indispensable to the village that they build. So they're just very, very strong women. Number one, and it's probably quite obvious what it's going to be, but it is going to be the women from the Harry Potter series. I can't really narrow it down to one or two or three women. The way J.K. Rowling portrays the women in this series, apart from Umbridge, but we'll just put her aside, she's in a different category. They're very strong, they know what they believe in, they know what their strengths are, they play to their strengths, such as Hermione and her knowledge, and Luna and her individuality, and Molly and her maternal instincts, and even Narcissa with her maternal instincts as well, and McGonagall with her how wise she is and how helpful she is. And it's just, you could pick any one, even Bellatrix, even though she's evil, she stands for that and she doesn't falter from her beliefs. Now, it might be a bit of a contradictory message to say that Bellatrix is a good role model, but what I'm trying to say is you could pick any woman from the Harry Potter series and they could represent a strong woman. They know what they believe in, they know what their strengths are. As I've just said, I'm going to repeat myself, but I just feel like the way that the women are represented in this, you don't find in other kids' stories and fantasy stories. It just feels like when you read Harry Potter and you read the women characters, they can take over from the men. Like, if the men weren't there, the women would be fine. Molly, you know, Nymphadora, you know, Andromeda, they'd all be fine. If the men weren't there, then the women could rule it. And I just think the way that J.K. Rowling reinforces that and brings role models to young children through Hermione and through Luna, it's just a very, very positive message to send, especially to the age group that you would start reading this. I remember when I started reading it and I wanted to be Hermione so bad, and she was just such a positive role model. She made being intelligent cool, and she made wanting to learn cool, and I just think that's why Harry Potter and the women in Harry Potter are at the top of my list, because any characters that can represent a section of, not society, I'm trying to think of the way to put it, a section of, or a personality trait that may be seen as not cool, or, you know, people get bullied for, to represent it in such a positive way like this does for children, I just think, and especially in girls, is a very, very, very good thing. So that's why Harry Potter is the top of my list. So that's my top 5 favourite female characters, even though there were more than 5. I don't even know how many women are in Harry Potter, but oh well. On a side note, I have actually now reached 100 subscribers. I'm so happy about that. I was sat at 99 subscribers for like 3 days. I am going to be recording a 10 facts about Callie video to celebrate the 100 subscribers, so you can get to know me a little bit better. I'm going to try and make them interesting, and I'm going to try and make at least 5 of them related to books and writing. Don't know how interesting a person I am, but I'm hoping that you like that video when it comes. So yeah, that was my video for International Women's Day, and look out for my 10 facts about Callie video coming soon. See ya!